This news update is brought to you by
Grab somebody and tell them hello. Pure happiness will be connect to flow. Smile and cheer because that is we flow. Grab somebody and tell them hello. With your hands in the air, hands in the air, hands in the air, hands in the air. This is how we flow, yeah. Grab somebody and tell them this is how we flow. Pure happiness will be connect to flow.
This is the Barbados Today Morning News Update for Thursday, November 26. Thank you for joining us. I am Marie-Claire Williams. Our top story, police and task force officers descended on the state-run Queen Elizabeth Hospital last evening following a security scare. Initial reports indicate that a man was nabbed on his way into the hospital compound with a bulletproof vest shortly after 3 o'clock. However, this was strongly denied by Police Public Relations Officer, Acting Assistant Superintendent David Welsh last night. A statement released by the hospital last night by Communications Specialist Julie Carrington admitted there was a bomb threat and the QEH's emergency management plan was thoroughly tested. The hospital also said gaps identified in its security system will be addressed. When a Barbados Today team visited the QEH just after 5 p.m., there was a heavy police presence, but visitors seemed unaware of the reported bomb threat. Finance Minister Chris Sinckler says he is willing to work with former Prime Minister Owen Arthur in the national interest. Earlier this month, Arthur revealed to Barbados Today that Sinckler had approached him to replace the retiring Sir Frank Alleyne as head of the government's Independent Advisory Council on the Economy. While he neither confirmed nor denied Arthur's appointment, Sinckler rejected any criticism that the former Prime Minister should not be given the post because of his ties to the opposition Barbados Labour Party. Members of the public may have to pay more to talk on their cell phones from January. The Finance Minister, Chris Sinckler, is proposing a 4.5% increase in value-added tax on cell phone service effective January 1st. This would raise the tax from 17.5% to 22%. Sinckler made the proposal to Parliament earlier this week, and he admitted it would result in higher bills. During this year's budget presentation, government announced plans for a 3% tax on mobile airtime, but Sinckler told Barbados Today it was proving too difficult and too expensive for telecoms companies to implement. Sinckler spoke to Barbados Today at the final of St. Michael's Battle for the West Primary School quiz.
And they also indicated that they would prefer if it were a percentage rather than a real figure. So we took those views into consideration, and there were other recommendations as well, some of which we could not work with because of the nature of it. And I will give more details about that when I speak in Parliament. So staff looked at it and recommended that the easiest and cleanest way to do this would be to do an increase in the VAT, because VAT is already charged on those services. So all you'll be doing is just increasing the percentage of it that you'll be doing. People would be happy to know, though, because I know that this is going to be a concern that would be raised, is if it means that you'll be paying more than the proposal that we made in the budget. You actually would be raising less, less resources. We ran our numbers and we saw that we could recoup some of that loss in terms of revenue elsewhere without having to make any major changes.
The National Union of Public Workers has committed itself to the fight against violence against women and girls. Vice President Joyanne Innes says the NUPW will work with all stakeholders in finding ways to tackle this complex issue. Innes was speaking on the observance of International Day to Reject Violence Against Women yesterday and the start of the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. She describes the problem as a health and safety issue which affects families and the public.
On this day, the National Union of Public Workers joined with the rest of the country and the world in saying that violence against women and girls is not acceptable. It is not inevitable. It can be prevented. Today is the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, and together with trade union colleagues, brothers and sisters in the NUPW, add our hearts, our voices, and our collective will and effort to tackle this issue. Today, also marks the start of the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. Tackling gender-based violence requires us to pay attention to and add our voices and put supports to efforts in Barbados, the rest of the Caribbean, and in the rest of the world. Through our regional and international bodies, we will do all that we can to bring attention to the issue and work with the various stakeholders to find ways to end gender-based violence.
A teenage boy is in police custody after allegedly stabbing a schoolmate yesterday afternoon. The injured boy is nursing a wound to the back. The incident occurred on a school bus heading towards St. Andrews shortly after 3 o'clock. The victim was taken to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital for treatment, but his wounds were not life-threatening.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Secure your future, be financially strong. Since 1983, we have been there for you. A smart range of products, great tax benefits. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. Humble beginnings to smart loans, smart savings. Save smart and borrow smarter. That's the move for me. Stability, prosperity. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union.
In news from the region, a U.S. federal judge has sentenced a Jamaican man to 20 years in prison for a lottery scam that authorities say cost victims millions of dollars. In May, a jury convicted Sanjay Williams of Montego Bay to 35 counts of conspiracy, wire fraud, and money laundering. U.S. District Court Judge Daniel Hovland sentenced Williams during a 2.5-hour court appearance. During that time, Williams was defiant and often argumentative with the judge. He said the allegations against him were fictitious and the jury failed to use their common sense when convicting him. St. Lucia is the latest Eastern Caribbean country to look to the Citizenship by Investment program to raise much-needed revenue, and the former High Commissioner to the United Kingdom has been promoting the program to the private sector. We get more in this report from HTS News Force.
Citizenship industry is essentially the granting of residency or citizenship by way of investment. Globally, the novel industry is valued at over $2 billion. Get at high net worth individuals, countries like Dominica, St. Kitts and Antigua have latched on to the lucrative trend, launching their citizenship by investment programs that have significantly boosted economic activity in the neighboring states.
There is no doubt that there are significant benefits from having such a program. You can easily identify the increase in government revenue, allowing for funding for central government expenditure, especially for capital projects. The creation of jobs, especially in the construction and hospitality sector. Earnings for professionals who offer advice and process applications. Enhanced tourism, increased tourism arrivals. Stronger brand identity and destination profiling, and in some cases greater support for local charities.
The Citizenship by Investment program will afford interested applicants the direct grant of citizenship. However, applicants will not be afforded the luxury of residency.
In international news, the surviving pilot of a Russian plane shot down by Turkey on the Syrian border says he did not receive a warning. He told Russian television the jet did not fly over Turkish airspace as Turkey said it did. We get the details in this report from the BBC.
Russia says this was their pilot who survived the shooting down of his plane by Turkey. He was rescued, and today he denied they had flown into Turkish airspace or had received any warnings. But in the 5 minutes before the plane was shot down, Turkey says it issued 10 warnings, and today released what it says is a transcript of the radio traffic. The Turkish military says it has held discussions with Russian military officials, insisting the downed jet ignored warnings.
No one should expect Turkey to stay silent to border violations or the violation of its rights.
But amidst all the claims, there was an outbreak of anger against Turkey on the streets of Moscow. A crowd gathered outside the Turkish embassy, pelting the windows with rocks and eggs.
And that's the morning news. Remember, there's more on our website, www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We're on Izumi Media in bus terminals and Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. Also tune into Channel 101 on Flow TV or Mix 96.9 FM for more news and sports. I am Mary Claire Williams. Have a good morning.